Greetings, everyone. This is Left Side of the Brain. Tonight, we are doing another Left Side of the Brain red light edition. And this is the time when we go in. We go further down the rabbit hole. Going to the concrete. And then digging and drilling beneath the concrete, taking it back to the essence, the realm of the end all to all that be. This is what we are going to discuss tonight. Many of us, we wake up every morning. We go through the rituals of the day. We get dressed. We go run errands. We drop our kids off at school. Some of us are single like me. Some of us are married. And, you know, if you married, you are married to the game. You took a woman. You decided to have kids, so now you are gridlocked into the game. Me, I'm single, but still, I'm a part of the game because just like you, I breathe and I'm in the same environment with you. And it dawned upon me today that we are not even living for ourselves. Many of us think that we are living for ourselves, but trust me, you're not living for you. You think you are, but you're not living for yourself. Let me give you an example. If you took an ant, just imagine we pluck a red ant up out of the ground. Let's just say we take that ant from amongst the rest of his colony. Excuse me, it's late night, I'm clearing my throat. Just imagine if you take that black ant from amongst his colony, and if you would place that ant into a shoebox, let's just say a white shoebox, the inside of a shoebox, you know, a white shoebox. And if you were to place that ant inside of that shoebox and just left him there, of course he would, you know, crawl out. So let's say we put the lid on top of the shoebox. And in that shoebox is just a sole ant all by himself. His life inside of that shoebox would be absolutely pointless. His life would be pointless without the rest of the colony. But with the colony, he would have a purpose, at least within the colony. The greater purpose of the colony is still pointless. But let's just say, for the sake of keeping it at a solo level, at an individual level, that ant would be pointless by himself. With the colony, he could be a worker ant. He could be a leaf cutter ant. You know, he could be a soldier ant. He could bring food to the rest of the colony. So in essence, by him being surrounded by other members of the colony, it would make him feel good about himself. He wouldn't feel lost. He wouldn't feel pointless and helpless and lonely. And again, all of these feelings that I just enumerated, pointless, helpless, and loneliness, they all come from being separated from the pack, being separated from the herd. And, you know, it's kind of ironic that a pack is called a herd, because amongst others, you are heard. People hear you. You can be heard. But by yourself, you feel like you're just in a room with echoes coming off the wall. But that's okay, because you're still being heard. And again, it's ironic that you can hear the echoes without someone else hearing you. But that's just not good enough for most people. You don't want to be a single herd. You don't want to be the one just hearing yourself. So you feel more complete by being a part of the herd, the bigger herd. You want others to hear your voice. Like the ant taken from the colony, you feel pointless. Now, the ant in the shoebox, his existence would be absolutely pointless. And that's my point. Many of us, like that ant, we are not even living for ourselves. We're living for others. And when you're living for others, you are living not only for other people, but you are living primarily for your ego. Egotism is what drives us. It's the fuel. It's the energy. It's the motivator. For many of us, when we wake up in the morning, ego is the rejuvenator. We look in the mirror and we say to ourselves, I don't look so good. So you wash your face, you brush your teeth. You're basically building your ego up to go out into the colony, into the herd, to be heard by everybody else. So once you put that makeup on, once you dress yourself up, once you put your perfume on, once you put your cologne on, once you put your suit and tie on and your dress shoes or whatever apparel you deem worthy enough to give you your boost, then that's what you put on. Then you go outside and you feel good. You feel good because you have cloaked yourself in ego. Your clothes represents an ego. You're dressed up in an egotism outfit, and you approach the world with that egotism. And that egotism, it gives you a reason to be here. It gives you purpose. You feel good to be around others. That is the spark of inspiration for most people. Going outside and being amongst the crowd. Okay? We are living not for ourselves. We're living for other people. People say it all the time. If it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't be working so hard. I've heard people say, once I had this child, it changed my life. It made me become a go-getter. Again, living for somebody else. Living outside of your skin. Placing your inspiration for living, placing it upon the shoulders of other people. wanting to impress others. So your life is revolving around people, on your job, competition. Everything is based in competition. Just be real with yourself. Relationships. We seek companionship with the opposite sex. So again, you're not living for yourself. You feel incomplete if you don't have a said girlfriend or said boyfriend. You don't feel complete. You feel empty because you are seeking outside of yourself. You're looking, you're searching. And I thought about it. The sun itself sitting up in the sky. It's like light. The sun is only shining. Even the sun shares the same mentality. If you could put a personality to the sun is living, is shining for us. But we're going to get on that later. We're going to get on that later. So you're riding the coattail of others. You say you're a strong person, but you can't go a week without picking up your phone. How strong are you really? Think about it. You know, how strong are you really? And I thought about it. If you are not said God or the said devil, your life is pointless. Your life is pointless outside of the confines. When you are holding on to that mentality of living for others, your life is pointless outside of the confines of others, of other people. And, well, if you are not God or the devil, as it's told to us in the narrative of good and evil, that means you are stuck in between. You're stuck in between good and evil. You're stuck in between destiny and not knowing. The opposite of destiny is not knowing. Not knowing your destiny and destiny. So you are a puppet in the game. You are just a puppet in the game. When you don't know your fate, when you don't know your destiny, you're just waking up living, crawling around basically. Crawling around on two legs. A two-legged human. If you're not God or the devil, you're unsure about everything. You're just living in this world. The only beings that really are outside of pointlessness is God and said devil and the said devil, because God is not living in unsurety. The devil is not living in unsurety. When we think about God, you know, God doesn't have a destiny. He doesn't have a fate. The devil doesn't have a destiny, and he doesn't have a fate. He's already met his destiny. He's already met his fate. He already knows it. It's signed, it's sealed, it's delivered. God, he don't have a destiny. He doesn't have a fate. He's God. You, the person living this life, you're like the ball in between the rackets on the ping pong table, going through pointless arguments with people, going through pointless ups and downs, going through pointless relationships, going through breakup, making up, breaking up, making up, just pointless maneuvering through life, all because you are living for others. You find yourself in this endless cycle of pain and pleasure. And essentially, that's what life is all about. Pain and pleasure. Yeah, we talk about sin. We talk about religion. But really, it's all about pain and pleasure. In your life, not only are you living for others, but every day, we as individuals, we are trying to avoid pain and gain pleasure. That's all it's about. Trying to avoid pain to gain pleasure. And then once the pleasure is gone, then you're back at pain. And a lot of this is not physical pain. A lot of this can be emotional pain. You know, confiding in another person to give you a good feeling. I want to meet such and such girl because, you know, I hope this date goes right. Because, you know, at the end of the date, I want to have sex and I want to, you know, I want to sleep with this girl. And I hope it goes right with this man because, you know, he's very wealthy. He's handsome. And, you know, I can see me having a very secure future with this man and this good job that he has. That's how you think. And when it don't go right, you back at ground zero. Not knowing that, like me, myself, many of us don't grasp the lesson of this constant roller coaster ride, this up and down. Well, the lesson is just jump off the roller coaster. But that's not what we do. We keep living for others. Once this relationship don't work out, we jump on another roller coaster ride and we say to ourselves, now it's going to work out this time. And then when that one don't work out, you stand back in line. Life is like an amusement park. You stand back in line and you get on a roller coaster ride with another person. Again, living for others and not yourself. Seeking pleasure in things around you. Instead of learning the lesson that it's never going to work out. It's never going to work out with people. This is what you all have to grasp. Each and every one of you jaguars. That's what you have to grasp. It's never going to work out with people. Go ahead and grasp your freedom by not confiding in others and just taking all of those desires that you have that's outside of yourself and just abandon them. Abandon all hope that you're going to find something from another person other than yourself. Stop expecting it. Stop seeking pleasure from the world. You're living for others instead of living for yourself. This is the endless cycle that you are on. You're on this carousel, fooling yourself. And I touched on religion. These religions are not doing the world any good. You know, like I said, if God knows the destiny already, God is not living a false existence. He's not living for others. The devil is not living for others. Like I said, if you are not God or the devil, you are stuck in between a life of not knowing which is the opposite of destiny. You're stuck in a life of not knowing, and you are the ping pong on the table. Because, again, you're living for others. And religion doesn't do anything except fool us into thinking that change is going to come in this world, when even the religious books tell you how the world is going to end. Everything is already written. But yet, you think somehow your life is so meaningful that you're going to change the outcome of what's to come. Everything is dying. Everything is dying. 100 years from now, nobody that's alive today will be alive 100 years from now. It's already written in the religious books. They tell you about Armageddon. They tell you about famine, pestilence. We're getting closer and closer to the year 2020. I never thought I would be saying this. 2020? 2020, and none of these religions has helped anybody. None of these religions have helped anybody. It's 2020. We still doing the same stuff, the same things. Caught up on this carousel, this endless voyage around the orbit of pain and pleasure. That's all we're doing. Thinking that we're making a change when we are not. Sometimes, I just wish that a comet would come and just strike this earth. I truly wish that. We've been living in this world, going along these old, antiquated concepts that hasn't helped us not one bit. Marriage, having kids, relationships. I feel that we should just abandon religions. Totally. I feel like sometimes if people would just loosen up, it would alleviate some of the pressure that's around us. Because a lot of the things that we do in life is pointless because we are doing things that's not necessary. For instance, we don't even have to know how to read. We don't have to know how to write. A lot of the things that we do, going to school, reading, writing, arithmetic, algebra, none of that has anything to do with life. I can eat an apple. I can drink a glass of orange juice. I can eat a banana. I don't need to write to do that. I don't need to read to do that. I don't need to read and write to make love, to have sex. A woman doesn't need to know an ounce about biology to get pregnant. It's already pre-programmed. A lot of the problems in this life are self-created by man himself, thinking that he is gaining something when he's absolutely losing out on life, losing out on a heaven that could be here on earth. The woman controls more than what you men think she controls. Many times women make men dishonest. I'm gonna give you an example, but we're gonna hold out for a minute. Now, I'm going to get back to that. If women would just loosen up, this world could be heaven on earth. But of course, we have the programmed human prison bars that exist amongst us. And they mostly exist in the female counterpart. We know about the time of the great falling away. We know about the portal that was created. And the woman flesh was wrapped around the portal. And she was created. She is a walking portal from the time of the great falling away. And with the powers that be aiding her, the world, even in the animal kingdom, the division between male and female has created the world where pleasure has been separated. So we have to seek pleasure in an opposite sex, creating another paradigm of living outside of yourself, creating another paradigm of living for others, creating the birth and death cycle, the endless fuckery between male and female, when all women got to do really is just loosen up. Men, and this is for women too, if you listening, just imagine if women just loosened up and they just decided to just give it up for free. No more making men chase for sex. Just imagine if they just said, enough of this rabbit chase. They took their clothes off and just bend over. And we just have a sexual orgy on this planet. Mind you, in order to do this, you would have to relinquish all jealousies. Jealousies create a wall against freedom. Don't look at that woman as your wife. Every man just pass women around. But women are not going to do this. And a lot of men are not able to allow their daughters to be passed around. A lot of men are caught up in another program that's inside of them it's called territorial, being territorial. You see, lions are territorial. Territorial on earth, which has abundance, makes no sense. We are being territorial and the planet doesn't run out of anything. It's enough bananas to feed every human 10 times over. Enough apples, enough oranges, enough pineapples, enough wheat in the field. But yet we still being territorial. We still have women being stingy with sex, making men chase, still vetting, having this programming inside of them. This programming of he's an alpha male, he's a lower male. He got money. He don't. He drive this type of car. He doesn't. And what this has done, getting to the dishonesty, a lot of men have been taught dishonesty just by dealing with females. They have been taught dishonesty. I've noticed since the advent of the cell phone, the texting, social media, I've noticed the way men have been dissed by females. It has rubbed off on men. Let me give you an example. A man may text a sad woman, a woman he likes. She may take forever to text him back. He may call a woman. She may not pick up the phone. Over time, men started becoming dishonest. And it's almost like, you know, when you was a kid, kids are very honest. When you was a kid, you told it how it is. You didn't know anything about feelings of other people because you was at your basement stage. You was at your rudimentary stage where everything was just about feeling security and wanting to be protected and just speaking your mind. Because as a baby is so raw like that because the baby has to expose all of its feelings to its mother. It can't hide anything. So if a stranger comes to a child, it's going to cry because it's at that stage where it can't defend itself. So nature designed the baby to be blunt and straightforward. So if it sees a stranger, if a stranger come holding its arms out as if it's ready to pick up a baby, if the baby doesn't know that stranger, it's going to cry. It's going to say, no, get away from me. No, I don't like you. Get away. It doesn't hide anything. All of us was like that as men. When we were young, we used to be that way. The thing is, as we grew up, women, they kept that honesty. And a lot of men know what I'm talking about. See, society didn't change women. Women was always in their rightful position. If all women today forego jobs as being a secretary, jobs, any other job outside of the home, the world would be perfectly fine because her main job is to procreate, have babies, get pregnant, be in the home, breastfeed, be pregnant for 9 months. So just like the baby, her honesty had to remain because like the baby, she needs to survive as well. Just like the baby when it's first born. Helpless. Women are weaker than men. They more helpless. But I'm going to get to where men learn that dishonesty. We're going to get there. So notice a woman is like a more infantile, like a child. It's okay for them to put on makeup. They've been playing makeup since they was children, playing with Barbies. It don't change. It's okay for them to put, take pictures and make silly faces and flower filters, flower crowns, puppy dog noses, long dog tongues, on the filter. It's okay for them to laugh and to grab each other by the ass and lay on each other and giggle and hug on each other. It's okay because you know why? Because they are like children. They have to be like children because they have children. So they have to keep that coldness. That's why it's nothing for a woman to turn a man down. Get away from me. Girl, he been at walk up here and asked me for my number. Look what kind of car he drive. Sir, especially if she doesn't like you. Sir, you in my comfort zone. You too close. No, please. I don't want to talk. I don't feel like talking. Or I'll text this man back whenever I want to text him back. All of these things, men learn how to be dishonest by dealing with females. I've noticed that nowadays you text a man and he won't even text you back. He won't even text you back instantly. You know why? He learned it from texting females. Females take forever to text back. And men started treating each other like that. Poisoned by the female organic portal. Poison to behave cold with other men. Poison to when your fellow brother calls you, you look at the phone ringing because some woman did you like that. The dishonesty we learned from the female kind of reminds you of the story of Adam and Eve. When Adam learned dishonesty from Eve. This is not a female bashing video. This is a truth video. So what I'm saying is, I had to make that point and go around the world to get to this. All of this dishonesty, all of this relationships, this up and down, this pain and pleasure, it all plays into the carousel ride. Reject damages one's ego. Once your ego is damaged, you want to fix it. You feel like you was damaged by somebody, and the only way to fix it, well, you want to go back to a person to fix your ego. If you are rejected by one girl, you go to another girl for damage control. Now, and the same can be said for a woman. One relationship didn't work out. Now, you're seeking for another relationship to fix what was broken. It all relates. You're living for others. That's the whole point. And when you're living for others, that's when the dishonesty comes in. As you grow up, the world teaches you to be dishonest. Because this life is based in ego. An ego is a lower self trait. It's a trait of the lowest self. Ego goes along with all other negative traits like dishonesty, pride, losing your temper, competition. It all relates. We talk about evil and good. I thought about it. Evil and good in this world, it's not pure. It's not pure. It's not unconditional. Like, there is no unconditional love in this world. When you're living for others, it's not unconditional because it's based in ego. You love somebody who matches your standard. You don't love the person. You love the standard you made. So somebody is going to try to live up to that standard just to be with you. Living for others. That's why I say relationships is one of the biggest examples of somebody living outside of their self. Oh, I got impressed. Even going to get a job. Dressing up for the interview. All about living for somebody else. All about looking a certain way in the eye of the person who is beholding you. Because you're living in this world. And this world is based upon, everything in this life is based in sin. Love is not what it really is. Evil and good, we don't follow the 10 Commandments to be good because we want to be good. Because good comes with a price. And breaking the 10 Commandments, it comes with a price. If you believe in, the Bible narrative or the religious script as given. So you feel that if I break such and such commandment, I'll be punished and I'll go to hell. If I live up to the doctrine and I follow the commandments, I'll go to heaven. So even your good is not of you. It's a good that you are performing for a reward. You're living for others. You're living for others. You're living for God. Now, not saying anything's wrong with that. Not saying anything is wrong with being good. But like I said, God and the devil are the only people, the only two entities that's actually living a real life. God is not being good for the reward of someone else. And the devil, well, his fate is already sealed. He's not on the ping pong table, not knowing what he's going to do from day to day, waking up for a pointless existence. The devil's existence is not pointless. God's existence is not pointless. Like I said, God doesn't have a destiny. He's already God. The devil don't got a destiny. He's already the devil. He's already met his fate, and God has already met his fate. It's us who are living under the paradigms of these said religions and all of these different concepts, and we just waking up, living for others, living for pain and pleasure. Everything we do is based upon conditions. Like I said, we only say we are good because there is a reward, and we don't want to be evil or break the commandments because we are afraid of being punished. Okay? And that's why I say that there is no such thing as good and evil. Only if you can be punished. But when you take it back to the quintessence of everything, evil does not exist. Because God cannot be punished. And God, that's where everything goes back to, the beginning. God does not need you to be who he is. He's not living for others. You still living for others. That's why I say it's pointless to have kids, because you end up living for others. That's why I don't want any kids. I don't want to live for others. That would be eliminating another entrapment. Just by not having kids, I have eliminated an entrapment of living for others. God don't live for others. He existed before creation, according to the narrative. He existed before creation. There's no such thing as evil for one who cannot be punished. Evil and good, it's only for those who can be punished. And to say evil and good, the religion creates a dichotomy in your brain. It puts entities that you don't see inside of you, and you feel like you have to live up to a standard that was set for you. Not saying it's wrong to do good, just saying living for others. Trying to live up to certain standards in this world hasn't gotten man anywhere. With all the religion, with all the trying to live up to somebody else's standards, to trying to impress somebody, We've been doing this for countless years, but wars still haven't ceased on this planet. You know, homelessness, joblessness, it still exists. So what good is trying to live for others anyway? It's not helping anybody. It's not changing the situation. You see? Sometimes I wish that a nuclear war would just take place, because it gets tiresome living for others. Pointlessly, we living on this planet, just living for other people. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you took an ant outside of its colony and just placed it in a box by itself, the ant would just be pointless. And same can be said for you. Taken from amongst fellow humans, what are you? You would still be believing in God, walking around by yourself. You would still be believing in God. That God that you would be believing in would just be your mind, because you would be by yourself. It would be your mind. That devil would be inside of your mind. Not saying that there is not a higher power, just saying that's all you should be thinking about. And that higher power, like I said, is not living for others. If you really wanted to follow a religion, if you really wanted to live, you would abandon everything in this life. You would stop trying to seek pleasure in other people. You would stop doing it. Ask yourself, would you want to live righteous if there was no God? Well, that question is kind of redundant. Not redundant, but it's kind of oxymoronish when you think about it. Because I said, would you still want to do good if there was no God? And if it was just you, then that would mean you would be God, right? If there was no God, and I said, would you still want to do good if it was just you? And if there was no God, then you would be God. Who would you be impressing? That's why I said that when it was in the beginning with just God, if it was just you, you would be God, no one else. Not trying to be good for the sake of being good for God. Then it wouldn't be nothing to judge you. You wouldn't be good. You wouldn't be evil. You would just be, just like God himself. So if you get rid of everything and the only thing that exists is God, that means he can't be punished for anything that he does. So anything he does is good, and anything he don't do is good, and whatever he do is good. That means evil doesn't exist, because if I can't be punished and I'm not living for others, then whatever I do is good. But then we have a conscience, even a consciousness, something telling you not to do this, something telling you not to do that. Is that the mind of God? Think about it. We say, I want to do good, but something told me not to do that. Does God have a consciousness? Does God have something telling him not to do good or not to do bad? Think about it. No, because nothing can punish him. You only think not to do good or not to do bad when you are living for others, because you think you can be punished. People are not good. You're only good when you're trying to live for others, or trying to front like you're good, like most women. You know, they really freaks, but they trying to act good because they got this programming in their mind. See, that good and evil programming, it controls people. You can go to hell. You can do this. But like I said, that's living for others. When you got the mind of God, you're not doing good for a reward. If you believe God is doing good, he's not doing good for a reward. Because if God is the one that blesses you, and if you think that's good by him blessing you, then who is blessing him for blessing you? Nothing. Nobody. Because nobody can bless God if that's where all the blessings are coming from. And that goes back to what I said. Only God and the devil are really living. Everybody else is just living for others. They're not even really living. So if you're not God or the devil, you're not even living for real. You're living for fake. You see? Because only God is doing good for no reward. Aha, you get it? Now you get it. I know y'all Jaguars get it. Only God is doing good for no reward because he's not living for others. Now think about this. The devil is doing evil for no reward. Nobody can bless the devil. You see? He don't need you to exist, just like God. That's why I say your life living for others, you just caught in between. You on the ping pong table, getting swatted back and forth because you don't know what you're doing. You're just waking up, going outside. I got to do this today. I got to do this. You running around. I got to go to the gym. I got to work out. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. Why? Why are you doing it? Why? What are you getting out of it? You're going to die anyway. Like I said, 100 years from now, nobody's going to be here. Y'all don't understand life. Life is, what you've been told about life is a lie. What you've been told about life is a lie. If God took, the greatest, you see, another thing, we are all controlled by this living for others. We are all controlled by this fear factor. Everybody in this world is under the gun. We are being held hostage. Ever heard of a nuclear weapon, nuclear bomb, nuclear missile? You know what happens? You know what makes a nuclear bomb explode? It's when two atoms collide. Two atoms collide. And when the atoms are broken, a tremendous amount of energy is released and it can destroy everything. What do nations with nuclear missiles do? You see, what do nations with nuclear missiles do when they are threatening other nations? They'll like North Korea, they don't mind if dictators exist. It's just that they better not cross a certain line. When you cross a certain line, it don't matter who. It don't matter about Islamic terrorists and jihad. They're not worried about that. They're not worried about North Korea and Kim Jong-un. You know why? Because they have the nuclear weapon. They allow evil to take place. God is destruction. Only thing they got to do is threaten these so-called evil people with destruction. The nuclear bomb. We'll drop a bomb on you. Nobody is good on this planet. It's all about pain and pleasure. They control people through threatening you with pain and pleasure. No one want to be locked up because that equates to pain. Loneliness, isolation. Loneliness. A mother's telling a child, go up in your room, little Johnny, for acting up, not doing your chores, breaking your curfew. You can't go outside for an entire week. Why is that a punishment? Why is going into solitude a punishment? Why do you think it's a punishment? What's so wrong with that? A spider is in solitude all the time. It just sits in a web. Why is that punishment? You know why it's punishment? Because you're so used to living for others that it hurts you to not be around other people. But you think you're living for yourself. You want to live so much that all they got to do is threaten to drop a nuclear bomb. And because you fear isolation, certain nations, they will listen to, and they would take the command and do, whatever said command is given, because they don't want to die. They don't want their nation obliterated. Why? Because everybody is so programmed for living for others that everybody's afraid to be alone. Ooh, alone. Ooh, I'm alone. God? How can you say you like God and you got the mind of God and you afraid to be alone? God was alone before creation, before time, just alone for eons and eons. So why you got to be around people so much? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? You're afraid of, what are you afraid of, and what are you not afraid of? Are you afraid of being a failure? Why are you afraid of being a failure? Because other people gonna think you're a failure. That's why. Why you want to be successful? You already, okay, if you live in a world where everything is already here. That's why this thing about success it's an illusion. What is success? Success is I make a whole lot of money. I can buy a lot of this. I can buy a lot of this. I can buy food. I can do this. If we were living how we supposed to live, everybody would be successful. Everything is in abundance. So even success is a falsehood. The only success is accepting loneliness. When you accept loneliness, you are successful. You are successful when you don't need other people to define your success. You can be successful as a loser. If loser is your goal, then that's success. That's success. What is success? Personally, me, I just want to be healthy. I just want to be me. I just want to do what I enjoy, not for others. I'm not living for others. If I meet a woman, if I have sex, I'm just having sex. I'm not going all out of my way to impress people. Remember I told you the mating rituals and, women making you chase, your reward is sex. If you act good, if you buy me a Valentine gift, you see, you living in the eyes of people. You give me a Valentine gift, I'll give you a blowjob. You be good, I'll give you some pussy. Living in the eyes of people, seeking attention, wanting to be looked like something. I want to be this, I want to be that. Do I show my face? I don't even show my face. All y'all hear is my voice. I don't even show my face. I'm not looking for popularity. Don't even show my face. I'm not looking for popularity. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm trying to be more like water every day. When you think about the elements, you can't give the elements anything. You can't give the ingredients. You can't give the ingredients of life anything. The ingredients of life, you know what it is. What's the ingredients of life on this planet? Sunlight and water. Those two things, they come together and they create life. Without water, you can't have life. Without sunlight on this planet, you can't have life. But what can you give back to the sun? What can you give back to the water? Nothing. Water don't need you. You drink water, you piss it out. You absorb the sunlight, and you sweat water. That's it. You're not, you breathe the wind, the air. What can you give the wind? What can you give the wind? Not a damn thing. That's how you should want to live. That's purity right there. Trying to be good. You're not good. That's not unconditional good. You're trying to be good for a reward. Just be honest. Even you're evil. You're trying to be evil. You're trying to be evil for a reward. You do something bad to somebody, you're getting back at them for a reward of getting your revenge. It's not pure. It's not unconditional. The only unconditional is water. You drink water for free. Water for free. It rains. Nothing you can give back to water. Nothing. And you think water is saying I'm being good? No, water is just gases. Condensed gases in the form of liquid. It's not being good. It's just being water. A flame of fire. It's just a flame of fire. The air we breathe. It's just the air we breathe. Stop thinking about good and evil and just think about peace. Peace, unconditional peace. Unconditional peace. How do you start obtaining unconditional peace? Number one, stop trying to live for others. Stop trying to look good for other people. That's how you gain it. Embrace loneliness. You want to be more like God? Embrace loneliness. You want to be more like the devil? Then follow his plan to live in the eyes of other people, full of vainglory, full of egotism. The way you've been living all your life, thinking you doing something, you living like the devil. You living like God when you do like God did before creation. Don't need anything, just living in a world not for others. You can be that person. Just by hearing this video, you on your way to being that person. It's going to be one step at a time. One step at a time. You can be that person. But you got to make the effort to do it. You can take a horse to drink water, but you can't force him to drink. I can only tell you this. I can't force you to do it. That's not my purpose. I'm just acting like water right now. I'm just acting like water. Freely giving of myself. Water. I'm going to give y'all some esoteric knowledge right now. I'm going to give y'all some esoteric knowledge. I'm going to tell y'all some symbolism. Water represents like the crucifixion of Jesus. Now, water represents the crucifixion because, like Christ, he died freely. Nothing he could get in return for that. Water does the same thing. Every time you drink water, it goes into. See, I'm not supposed to be giving away this esoteric knowledge. Okay, I slipped. I'm gonna say it anyway. Okay, water, like Jesus, crucified, is freely given. You drink water, and when you drink water, it goes down in your stomach, like Jesus was put in the tomb, and it remains in your stomach. And then the water is resurrected, because when you urinate, water condenses, or it goes through the condensation cycle, and it rains down again. And water is freely given. And you drink the water, and the water is like Christ on the cross. And that's why in the story, I wasn't supposed to say this, but anyway, Christ on the cross, when he was pierced in the side, that's why they tell you that blood and water came out from his side. Now, that's some esoteric knowledge. That's what it represents. Jesus walking on water. It's the same story. It represents Christ being like water. He walked on water because he is water. He freely gives himself. That's what that story means. When Jesus walked upon water, he's walking upon the water, or living by the word, the water. That's what it represents. He's walking upon that water, which represents life. Because water is life. And because he is the representation of water, he could walk upon it. Because water doesn't sink. Water floats. Water doesn't sink. Things sink inside of water, but water does not sink. You see what I'm saying? That's what that story means. And this video's been going on for like an hour now. I didn't even know it was. To me, I mean, when I'm talking truth, I'm in my eternal mind. So time doesn't mean anything. You know, time only affects us when we're doing stuff that is, you know, tearing us down, you know, carrying weights, you know, being a slave, basically. But that's when time, you're like, oh, man, I can't wait till this bell ring, because I've been working to the sweat of my brow, you know. I've been working like a slave. You know, that's when time, you're worried about it. But when you in your eternal mind, you know, when you just riding the waves of that stream of consciousness, you know, time doesn't exist. It's ageless. Like God himself. You know, not confined by time. But yeah, I wanted to make another point. You know, I was talking about us being in a hostage situation. Like, God, you know, I said, I can't wait till something happens to destroy this planet, because there's no need for us to be living in the middle of our destiny. If it's meant to be, I wish it would just come on and happen. You see? And if we are all destroyed by the forces of nature, it's not evil. If God wiped out everybody on this planet, it's not evil, because he cannot be punished. That's why some people don't understand. How could you be a Christian and the Bible tells you that? How did God kill all of those innocent children during the flood? It's not evil. It's only evil to you because you could be hurt by what's taking place. Nothing is evil to destruction, the forces of nature. Nothing is evil to the forces of nature. Nothing is evil to, let's say, fire. You can't hurt fire. You can't hurt water. You can't hurt these things. You can't hurt the wind. So it's not evil. Things that cannot be punished, they cannot do no evil. So that's why the flood story to a person, oh, that's not a loving God because he killed all those innocent children. Okay, that's your definition of love. Okay, you can't place your definition of love onto an all-powerful being. You can't place your definition of love upon that. Okay? What I'm saying is, people, presently our life, it's all about pain and pleasure. We are animals, basically, dictated by pain and pleasure. That's your drive in this world. Like I stated in the beginning of the video, you're either trying to avoid pain to gain pleasure. You're no different than a lion. And you know what's funny about lions? A lion doesn't think he's an animal. And they living for the same basic reason, pain and pleasure. A lion doesn't think he's an animal. That lion who is the king of the jungle. See, the animals that he hunts, they know that they are animals because they at the lower end of the food chain. Okay. But the lion, until a lion sees a human, until he comes in contact with the human being, nothing he does is evil. It's not until he comes into a circus and they taming him. They're taming his wild. We would say our wild is our sinful nature. So that lion is wild. He don't know he's an animal until, like I said, he comes in contact with a human. Until some human puts him in a cage and have him performing tricks and jumping through fire loops. You know how they do in the circus, running on a like a hamster wheel, whatever they do. You know how they tame those animals. The lion doesn't think he's an animal. In fact, if you was by yourself and you walked up to a lion, you wouldn't think he's an animal. You're going to think he is your superior. But because humans are like pretty much like ants, social creatures, together you could outsmart the lion with a weapon in your hand. But if a lion came up on you by yourself, he's not going to look at you as some mighty human being. As soon as he notices that you are frail, he's going to look at you like any other prey. He's going to bite into you, chew you up down to the bones, and the vultures will pick up the remains of whatever he left, what we call leftovers. So don't get too too big-headed. Lions don't think they are animals. They are animals because they're at the top of the food chain. And like God, anything that's at the top of the food chain, it cannot do no evil. Just like if you listening to me, you who are listening to me, if you thought like God, you couldn't do no evil. But you have a consciousness inside of you because it's a program. God doesn't have that program. God don't have a consciousness. You have a consciousness because you are living for others. You're a robot, basically. The fact that you believe that you have a consciousness, and if you go against that consciousness and do wrong or right, because you divide your brain into halves, right and wrong, you are a robot. God don't have that dichotomy within himself, nor does the devil. And all in all, stop living for others. Live for yourself. Just let everything I said marinate. This is Left Side of the Brain. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Hit the likes button. Add us on Instagram. At Left Side of the Brain 2 on Instagram. If you want to contribute to the cause, if you're a team member, go ahead and donate to our platform. Whatever you donate is reciprocated right back to you. You can donate at www.patreon.com/Left Side of the Brain. Y'all know I have to throw these commercials in there because, you know, we're trying to reach the 200 mark on Instagram. Go ahead and recruit. If you like the content, hit the likes button, hit the subscribe button. Until next time, Jaguars, this is Left Side of the Brain, signing out.